Disney CEO Bob Iger has faced yet another setback due to ongoing controversies surrounding the studio's upcoming Snow White movie. The lead actress, Rachel Zegler, stirred backlash just weeks ago with comments that alienated a significant portion of the audience, reportedly around 80 million Americans. Amid the controversy, Disney released the second trailer for Snow White. However, public reception has been overwhelmingly negative. As of December 10th, the trailer has garnered only 27,000 likes compared to nearly 800,000 dislikes. This massive discrepancy highlights a growing dissatisfaction among viewers, with the total dislikes possibly surpassing 1 million in the coming days. Public sentiment appears determined to ensure that the movie faces significant challenges upon release, signaling a potential disaster for Disney's highly anticipated project.
700.
I'm not a mentat, but the quick math on this, it's a 14-to-1 ratio. 14 downvotes to 1 upvote.
The interaction on the downside is...
You might be wondering why this Snow White remake is causing such a massive uproar. After all, Disney's live-action remakes are hardly known for being cinematic masterpieces. Audiences rolled their eyes at Dumbo and groaned through The Lion King. So why is Snow White being singled out as public enemy number 1? The answer lies in a potent mix of frustration, nostalgia, and Disney's relentless push to modernize classics, whether anyone asked for it or not. Sure, the trailer looks uninspired, but the real spark behind the outrage isn't just the poor visuals. It's the audacity of the creative changes combined with years of Disney reshaping beloved stories into something progressive at the expense of their original charm. First off, who is really clamoring for a Snow White remake? Let's be honest, nobody. The 1937 original is an iconic and groundbreaking film as the first ever full-length animated feature. But it's not exactly topping anyone's list of most wanted remakes. It feels like Disney's strategy has shifted from fulfilling audience wishes to squeezing every last drop out of its intellectual properties, and here's the thing, there's no harm in leaving the original untouched. The 1937 version still holds up today with its stunning artistry and historical significance. Yet, instead of cherishing that legacy, Disney decided to push forward with a remake nobody wanted, introducing changes nobody asked for to address problems nobody saw. The controversy surrounding this remake is rooted in more than just bad trailers or uninspired CGI. It's about how Snow White has been handled behind the scenes. This isn't just a misstep, it's a full sprint into public disapproval. The issues tap into a broader cultural battle being fought in Hollywood, one where nostalgic favorites are being overhauled in ways that alienate their core audiences. Ultimately, this Snow White remake feels less like a celebration of Disney's rich history and more like a symptom of the studio's current creative disconnect with its fans.
So what does this tell us? What does this tell us, Chris? It tells us the cultural significance of pissing everybody off, and not just our sphere, everybody. And this is why we talk about Snow White, the movie itself.
So, what does this tell us? It shows the cultural fallout of alienating just about everyone, not just a specific group, but practically everyone. This is why Snow White has become such a hot topic. Here's the core issue. Disney is stuck between two conflicting eras. On one side, we're in the age of intellectual properties, IPs, where studios are too scared to create original content. Instead, they recycle old ideas, hoping nostalgia will pack theaters. On the other side, we're just emerging from a period where studios, like Disney, leaned heavily into injecting progressivism, or what some critics label as wokeism, into their stories. These two priorities are now colliding, and Snow White is caught in the middle of the wreckage. Let's dive into the specific changes that have fans so frustrated. First, the dwarfs, or rather, the lack of them. Instead of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Disney initially floated the idea of Snow White and 7 magical persons. Why? Actor Peter Dinklage criticized the original story for being offensive to little people. Fair enough, but Disney's proposed solution, replacing the dwarfs with magical beings, was widely mocked for being, frankly, ridiculous. The result? Fans from all sides felt let down. Traditionalists saw this as unnecessary tampering with a beloved classic, while others viewed it as an awkward attempt to address concerns without any meaningful substance. The controversy didn't end there. But this particular change has come to symbolize the broader cultural clash that Disney finds itself navigating ultimately. Snow White isn't just a movie anymore. It's a case study in how missteps with storytelling, legacy, and cultural expectations can alienate audiences across the board.
2010s, where there were demands from certain groups rather than audiences to make every female character strong. That was pushed so much and done so badly that people are tired of it. Whenever you give somebody too much of one thing, they eventually ask for the other.
Then there's the casting of Rachel Zegler as Snow White. Disney seems to have forgotten that Snow White isn't just a name, it's a description. In the original story, her skin is described as white as snow. Casting someone who doesn't match this defining trait feels like a misunderstanding of the character. Sure, race-bending works in some cases, like The Little Mermaid, where Halle Bailey did a great job as Ariel. But with Snow White, it's different. The name itself sets the expectation, and here's the problem. Many of these changes feel out of touch. Disney seems focused on fixing its classics to fit modern ideas, but in doing so, it often forgets what made people love these stories in the first place. From changing lyrics in The Little Mermaid to removing iconic scenes in other remakes, these updates feel like Disney is trying too hard to lecture its audience rather than entertain them. The original Snow White isn't perfect by today's standards, sure, but it's a product of its time. Fans love it because of its timeless charm. Trying to modernize it doesn't just miss the point. It risks alienating the very fans Disney depends on. This whole Snow White controversy is a warning sign. For years, Disney has been relying on its classics to make money. But with every misstep, it's clear this approach has limits. If Disney keeps upsetting its core audience, they might just stop showing up altogether.
Disrespecting the fans, disrespecting Snow White, which helped build Disney, disrespecting half the country doesn't help your film. All press is good press is bullshit.
Now let's talk about the prince, or the fact that he's barely part of the story. Early reports said Snow White wouldn't be dreaming about a prince or needing him to save her. That sounds fine. Nobody wants a helpless damsel in distress story in 2024. But here's the thing. The prince in the original wasn't the main focus of Snow White's journey. He was more of a symbol of hope, not the reason for her story. Snow White's character was about resilience, kindness, and staying true to herself. Even when life got tough, removing the prince completely and calling it a feminist win feels like Disney is trying too hard to fix something that wasn't broken. Fans aren't upset because they want the old version back. They're frustrated because it seems like Disney misunderstood the story's heart. And then there's Rachel Zegler. If Disney's creative decisions didn't already upset people, her interviews certainly did. In one, she called the original Snow White outdated and made it seem like this remake was fixing all its problems. Comments like that only added fuel to the fire, making fans even more upset.
So many Disney fans actually wanted the love story. There is a demand for that, but there's not a demand for this. And Snow White just kind of represents how out of touch Hollywood is and how they're not actually giving people what they want with these movies. And
Rachel Zegler's tone in interviews didn't sit well with fans. Instead of honoring the original Snow White, her comments felt dismissive and, to some, even a bit elitist. People love Snow White for its legacy, and no one wants to feel like they're being talked down to about something so cherished. Her remarks about Snow White not needing to be saved by the prince upset many fans. It sounded like she was forcing modern ideas onto a story that was never really about romance in the first place. The problem wasn't just what she said, but how she said it. Her tone came across as snarky, condescending, and out of touch with the audience Disney wants to please. This controversy didn't come out of nowhere. It's part of a bigger frustration with Disney's remakes. Fans are tired of seeing beloved stories changed to fit modern trends, especially when those changes feel unnecessary or even insulting. For example, Disney decided to remove the dwarfs to avoid offending anyone, but this upset fans for other reasons. It also took away opportunities for actors in the little people community. Even those who supported Peter Dinklage's initial critique of the dwarfs thought replacing them with magical persons was a silly overreaction. This has become a pattern. Disney making changes nobody asked for while refusing to innovate where it really matters. Fans aren't against progress. They're against changes that feel shallow and performative.
She literally says it, whatever. If you don't vote blue, I don't need your business.
May you never know peace. May you never know peace.
Yeah.
That's pretty harsh.
It's really fun.
So, what does this mean for Disney? It's simple. They need to rethink how they handle remakes. Instead of trying to fix classic stories or chase modern trends, Disney should focus on what made these tales special to begin with. Fans don't want perfection. They want authenticity. They want these characters and stories to be respected, not changed to fit a corporate agenda. Most of all, they want to feel like their love for these classics is valued, not dismissed as outdated or problematic. What do you think about all this drama? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates on Hollywood controversies and Snow White. See you in the next video.